to, so I ended up just using an acrylic gesso instead of an oil ground, just because I've in the past had experience of that tightening up the canvas, and it did surprisingly work quite well, except I had a very different surface than I'm used to. And just quickly to rehash the difference between acrylic and oil-based ground is one is obviously acrylic, the other is oil. The acrylic one tends to be slightly more absorbent, so it will pull some of the oil out of the paint into the canvas, and you can kind of get like dead spots on your painting, which are kind of like fun to look at. They do go away once you varnish the painting, but that only solves it at the end really. But oil-based ground tends to just be smoother. The oil paint doesn't absorb into it as much, so it more sits up on the surface. So you get slightly more saturated colors, less deadening of the colors. And it's also just like your paint goes a little bit further just based on the smoothness of it. It tends to glide on top of it versus getting like absorbed or like pushed into the canvas. It's really a minor change. It's just something I have like taught myself and started using. It did change this process slightly. If you watched my previous video, you may have noticed that I wiped away the underdrawing. I find that it's a little bit harder to do that on an acrylic ground. You can still do it. It's not that big of a deal. I just prefer it on an oil ground. It almost goes way back to white versus acrylic. It just leaves this like ugly smear look. And I ended up just letting that first layer dry. And now I'm going over it again with a drawing. A couple more days, but same result in the end. The result being a block in stage. I am not doing a heavily detailed drawing. I'm mostly just getting the general shapes down, like the larger shapes. Like I have like the entire head blocked into one shape, the entire trash can's one shape, the wall's one shape, just blocking things in the most simple you can see them. And that comes with training, but also it's not super hard. It's just a way of thinking in terms of big blocks of color, because then you can go in and cover the entire canvas immediately with these giant blocks of color, like not really paying much attention to minute shifts in value in each of them, because that can all come later, but it's much easier to change and move things around in this giant block-in stage, because it's way easier to compare